ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app. You got me, Scott?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Good morning, sports fans. Live from across the globe. Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and my co-host, Mr. Scotty Webb at Webby20MLB. Had a power surge as I started the show in an intro. Got about a half foot of snow here. Snow plows are here. Dogs are barking. Internet in, out. My laptop, which is the engine, went black. So I'm like, what the bleep's going on? It literally went black, and my other two big screens are still up. So I'm like, I had no idea. So, anyways, we did get back, and yes, we are live. 7 bowl games today, 2 NFL games. Ravens with Snoop Huntley looked to keep their season alive, like Kansas City, like the Bengals, like the Lions. Ravens, do yourself a favor. Just check out now. It's a lost season. But anyways, glad to be back. Hopefully everyone had a great holiday. As we get closer to New Year's Eve, ECSI VIPs, nice 3-1 day yesterday. Northwestern first half team total over. Northwestern full game team total over. Took a shot with Dr. Lance's Lobos plus the 1.5. We'd lose in overtime. Then came back. This made no sense. None. With all the opt-outs and whoever was in and not in, UTSA, they were 6.5, 7.5 point favorites. I just took over 61. And the funny thing, Scotty, is, I'm drawing a brain cramp here. FAU. Bing, bang, boom, 14-0. I'm like, well, this obviously helps the over. Then I think it was like 40 straight by UTSA. Anyways, how was your holidays?
No, it's good. We had Christmas. All that stuff is good. Went to go see mom, and took up Christmas dinner to her. So all that was all good. Weather was fantastic those days. Christmas Eve. Christmas Day, day after. I mean, it was just beautiful here. So we're going to get a taste of your weather. I mean, we're not going to be in the teens and stuff like that, but New Year's Eve, we're supposed to be in the 30s here at night, and some wind chill. So for us, that's like driving on snow again.
Well, this storm, the one that we got last night into today, was kind of funny because it went from nothing to a coating to maybe 2 inches, then maybe 4. So, like I said, I think about 5-6 inches. One of those though that you could just get rid of and move on. It's 29 degrees right now. It wasn't brutally cold. It's not brutally cold. I don't know what the outlook looks for next week, but truth be told, everyone watching and listening had planned to go live yesterday, and we hosted breakfast and lunch on Christmas. I'm sorry, breakfast and dinner on Christmas, and I was kind of sort of in charge of cooking the dinner, and I kind of as Emerald Lagasse from Pearl River would say, kicked it up a notch, and I had more plates than I don't even know what to say. But anyways, at around 7:15, my back locked up, and I couldn't move, and so I kind of took some Tylenol, checked out, got a heating pad, and reached out to all the guests and said, "Hey, I'm not going to chance this. Go enjoy Friday. We'll see you on Monday." And then I reached out to Scotty with the 14 games, and there's one at Fenway today too, Scotty. We got UConn Army there, but before we dig into the games, what have you seen so far? How's the model? How's the eyes? How's the portfolio? And all that good stuff.
Well, on the contest picks that you sent me, we're 4-1, so that's good. The only game we lost was the backdoor cover game. Louisville had that game, and they just let them off the hook. So I think the model's doing fine. I was on 2 games yesterday, and I was on UTSA, which obviously they covered without a problem. And I was on the first game, Northwestern, covered without a problem. So I think the model's doing okay. I think one of the things that is a little different, for these bowl games is you really, really, really need to pay attention to who's playing, who's not playing, and I think you feed that information into the model, and it comes back with some good information and sometimes not. But I think some of the big thing is the other thing I'm seeing is like one of the games that we might talk about today is Pittsburgh. I bet Pittsburgh. It's one of the games I bet. But I bet it at 10. You can't get it other than 13.5. So I guess what I'm trying to say is there are spots where, like if you were, like you talked about UTSA last night and some of these, like if I bet Northwestern at 10, it kicked off, it was 13.5. So these numbers are flying as closer you get to kickoff and stuff like that. So I think you got to be a little careful, especially with favorites, right? But the other side of that is the big spread bet ups are still covering. So I would tell you at this point, and we haven't had the major games yet, the playoff games, but we also haven't had the key bigger matchups. Like we get one today, right? Georgia Tech, BYU, those are better schools. I would tell you that the favorites are just dominantly better than the underdogs. So at this point, and as we move that forward, I'm not telling you that the favorites are going to win them all. I'm not telling you that the underdogs are going to win them all either, but I think they'll be a little bit more competitive towards the number when the bigger schools play each other as opposed to the bigger schools playing the little schools.
No, and again, it's kind of not comical. It's these bowl games in the world that we live in right now. And I'm just trying to check a site out, and it's just spinning. I don't know if it's me, it's the internet. Let me go over to here for a second. Go here. There we go. Let's see how this goes. Is she? Maybe one more second, Scotty.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, I think with that power surge, I'm not going to mess with anything here. I'm having an issue. All right. So, anyways, before we get into the college games, here are 2 games in the NFL. Anything that you want to talk about there? Basically,
I think I think most of the time, based on our schedules and what we do, they don't get to hear what I do on NFL, right? So there's a couple of things here, and these are two game breakdowns that I think are interesting because that Baltimore Green Bay game, right? You've got two backup quarterbacks that are going to play. So we'll talk about that one in a second. But the first game, you've got Houston, who they're not in the playoffs yet, but theoretically they're going to be. And then you have the Chargers, who are in, and to a degree, this is a big game for the Chargers, only in a sense that right now I think they're the 7th seed, but if they win this game and then win next week, they're the AFC West division winners, and then theoretically the number 1 seed, the number 1 team. So I think both teams have something to play for. Now, having said all of those things, this is a dominant defensive battle, right? And you have the number 1 defense in the NFL in Houston, and I think the Chargers are like 4th, 5th, 6th, whatever you look at. So they're right there. Houston's not a very good road team, and the quarterback Stroud, he's struggles a little bit on the road, and the type of defense that Houston plays, where they play certain types of man defenses and coverages and different zones and things and stuff that they do, Stroud doesn't throw well into that. So it's an interesting game in terms of that quarterback doesn't match up to that defense. But on the other side, think about this. Houston with Hunter and whatever the other guy's name is, the better one, pass rusher. So the
Anderson.
Anderson, there you go. I keep saying with an A, and I kept thinking it was something else. So Anderson and Hunter, those two guys are number 1 and number 5 in pass rush efficiency in the NFL. And the Chargers are going to be without their tackles. So this is a bad matchup. I mean, like terrible matchup for the offensive line for the Los Angeles Chargers in this game. And up until last week, Herbert has been good, but he was really good last week. But he's not been, like 300 yards good and all that stuff. He's not going to throw for 300 yards against this team today either. So I think you have two very, what I would say, capped offenses. They're not going to go and score a bunch of points. The total, I think, is 40, right? So something like that, 39.5, 40.
39 and a hook.
So I'm getting a different read on the game in a sense that I think that Houston is going to put their offense in better spots. I think it's going to be a field goal game, and I like Dicker, the kicker, for the Chargers, but I also like Kerry, the Fairborn guy, for Houston. I think this is a dead even match, and if you're getting 2 points or 2.5 points, you take them. I think you take the underdog and be okay. Be like, look, now you got to go beat me, and see what happens because their defense is so good. Their defense can score points. I don't know that Stroud's going to turn the ball over. He might, but I think they get their running back Marks back in this game. So I do think that there's a better possibility that Houston, even though I don't like them on the road, they don't have to cover, right? I mean, they don't have to go beat a team. They just got to stay within the number. And I think they can. I mean, this could be a 20-19 kind of game. So anyway, I think that this is one of those spots where Houston needs to win this game. And I think Houston will. So I like Houston in that side. On the other game, I would take the points, even though it makes me sick to do it. And the reason is I think that the backup quarterback, Snoop, is a guy that fits their system, can play. And to be honest, looking at his numbers, and he's only started once, but he came in relief there and did some other stuff because before it was Rush or whatever. He was playing early in the season. They didn't even have Snoop anymore. So when they brought him back, he fits right in. And to be honest, does the same things that Lamar does. Now, when Lamar's healthy, he's obviously not as good as Lamar, but Lamar hasn't been healthy for a while. And to be honest, I don't want to sit here and tell you that Snoop's better than Lamar, but at the same time, he's been playing better. So he kind of gives, and they've been running the ball pretty well, and Green Bay sort of doesn't have a whole lot to play for. So I mean, I get it. They can still win and do all the stuff just like and become number one seeds and all the other stuff for them. I mean, just all these wins and wins and wins, right? So I think this comes down to then what do you do with Malik, right? So I think. I guess I heard a guy say this, and I thought it was a great analogy. Jordan Love is a pocket passer. He's not a runner. He can run, but he's not a runner. He doesn't look to run, put it that way. And then he gets hurt, and then Malik comes in. Well, they design runs for him. He's a running quarterback that can throw. So it creates a whole different wrinkle for the defense. So that's a 180 flip. And if you prepared all week for the quarterback who sits in the pocket, now you got another guy that comes in and is a total 180 change. It's a bomb to what the defense planned for. But if you have all week to prepare for that, I think that lessens his value and gives you the perfect reason why he's a backup quarterback. So in my opinion, I think that Baltimore is healthier. I think the offensive line for Green Bay is banged up, and I think that allows you to take the points there. Having said all those things, I'm not betting that game. I'm hesitant to even bet the game with Houston. I think there's more value in other spots. That said, if you wanted to take a shot, the only way I would take the shot in my analysis on the bets is I would bet Houston plus the points today.
Kind of funny. Christmas Day, 3 games, 6 teams, 3 of the teams, third string quarterbacks. Here we are on Saturday. Baltimore and Green Bay, both with their backup quarterbacks. The life of a quarterback this year, especially, has not worked out well, and that's why you kind of sort of need a real good backup, ready to plug and play and come in at any time. You talked about Lamar. There's issues going on. Listening to a few people that I follow. This went back a year ago, contract-wise, where Lamar wasn't playing. Now you're hearing the rumblings, missing at least 1 practice a week, meetings, up late playing video games, and now Harbaugh starting to get that friction. And it's almost like I talked to someone, Scotty, and you can't trade. We're coming up to year 9 now, Lamar, at the age 29, where the regression begins. You either take it to that next level. Tom Brady, year 9, ACL injury, took it to the next level. It showed regression, but we drafted Jimmy G, and then the rest is history there. Mahomes will be in that same spot next year. Running quarterbacks. If you trade Lamar, it's going to take you a year or 2 just to reboot the offense. The whole offense is predicated to Lamar. And if you fire Harbaugh, who's next? So a lot of moving parts there. 2 games in the NFL, as we talked about. Enjoy those. A lot of playoff implications. Ravens lose, they're out. Pittsburgh wins the division. Green Bay, the Lions are out. So Green Bay in, I don't know now if it's all about seeding or actually Chicago goes to San Fran with a Green Bay win. Scotty, is now Green Bay still a chance to win that?
Green Bay plays Chicago to end it. Oh no, they play the Lions. I'm sorry. Green Bay plays the Lions. So is that the way that works? Let me pull that up because I forgot to look at that. Where is it? It's up over there. There. Um, there we go. And if I go there, that's the wrong one. And that's the one I'm looking for. So this week, right? Um, Green Bay plays today, and they play the Ravens, and then next week, Green Bay plays Minnesota. So theoretically, even if they win both of those games, they're going to need some help in front of them. They're going to need the line or the Bears, because the Bears play the 49ers, and then the Bears play the Lions. So the Lions can be, they can come in and go, hey, we're going to take you out of the number one seed, or we're going to take you out to not win the division. But I don't know what the type. Let me pull it up. I can do it on that other thing that we did. So let's say Green Bay wins today, and then we'll say where is the Bears? We'll say the Bears don't beat the 49ers. It's on the road. We'll just say the 49ers win. And then next week, we'll try it both ways. We'll say Green Bay wins, and if and then where is the line? And then we'll say the Bears win at home. So if that happens, the Bears still win the division. If the Bears lose, so that's when it switches.
Okay.
The Bears have to lose both games, and the Packers have to win both games, and then the Packers win the division.
All right, let's get to some ball games. I'm gonna give out. I'm gonna show everyone Scotty's in-pocket plays for today. They are Pittsburgh -10 against East Carolina, as he stated earlier. That line opened at 6. It's now as high as 13.5. He bought it at 10. Army -8.5 against UConn at Fenway Park. That game opened, believe it or not, UConn is a favorite. No one is available for them. And it's funny, some guys started to say they play. There is some buyback on the UConn side. As low as 7.5 at BetMGM, as high as 9.5 at ESPN. But right now, 8.5, -15 cents. Next move to 9. Army -8.5 there at the Fenway Bowl. And the Arizona Bowl, Fresno State, Miami of Ohio. Scotty on Fresno State -5. Opened at 3.5, now 5.5. With a 40 or 40.5. So I'm going to take that down, Scotty. You can break down. I do not have, my internet's wonky right now. I can't even pull up games on.
We'll just talk about the games. That's fine. So a couple of things. I don't know how fair it is for me to come on here and go, hey, look, I bet this game at 10 and now it's 13.5. And then you go out there and go, well, I can't bet it at 13.5. I don't know how fair that is or whatever. But I will tell you that of all the games, and Jeff can sort of validate this to a certain degree, of all the games, right? He asked me to do this for a contest, and then in the contest, I have a confidence level on all these games. Well, one of the highest games is this Pittsburgh game. So here's why that Pittsburgh game is such a big deal. It's such a big deal because East Carolina is good because of the quarterback Hauser. Well, guess who's not playing in this game? The quarterback is not playing in this game. So every one of those 3 bets I made has one very common theme. The attrition of the players playing for the underdog side is extremely bad. East Carolina is bad. Obviously, Jeff can tell you all about the players for UConn's not playing. And UConn's quarterback's not playing. All of that stuff is bad, and then the same for the Miami Ohio team. They're against Fresno State. They're none of that is good for any of those teams. And Miami Ohio has gone through I don't know how many different quarterbacks. They've got a decent defense, but I think you run into a lot of other issues here. So when it comes to bets, the absolute number one value bet of all college football in the bowl games is Army and Navy on these games. Army and Navy is the best. Now, having said that, you missed out on the opportunity to get both of them as underdogs, right? So now they're way big favorites. So the way you fight that is you take the bet anyway. You just cut your unit size down. You don't sit there and go, all right, well, this is the best bet of all the football bets, and then you don't bet it because the number changed. You just change the amount that you bet on it. So, for example, if I'm betting $300 a game, and I go to bet this game, I bet $100 on this game instead of 300. It's just the way it is, right? I mean, or 400 or whatever, because it's a great game. So like Pittsburgh, you bump it up a little bit, and then you kind of waffle your way through some of these other things. So I think when you start to think about it in terms of what you're betting and what betting value is, you do it that way. I mean, so like the notes here basically say ECU is toast without Hauser, and they also have skill position losses. Pittsburgh rolls comfortably. Feels like the most free double-digit spread on the slate. They're double digits, but when you're betting him and you get an analysis that comes back and says, hey, they're going to cover double digits pretty comfortably. Whatever, it is what it is. The Fresno State is, this is a midweight play. Miami's Ohio portal carnage. They have Perry, Trick, Terrell, Yarbrough all gone. Henson is now slinging. So you got a brand new quarterback that you don't even know who he is really. And then you go and say it's a grind fest, right? Fresno State dominates. And they can run the football pretty well in Fresno State. So I think you're going to see a pretty good game there. And then obviously you have the UConn game where you're basically, I don't know who's playing for UConn. They might have got some band members to go play in that game. So I'm not kidding. And they have, I don't know who's coaching the team. None of that. So it's all predicated, and Army Navy, those two schools, it's just another game for them, right? I mean, they're those kids aren't getting drafted. They're not going to have to deal with portal stuff. They're not going anywhere. They're there for the Army. They're there for the Navy, and this is just all. It's all part of routine. It's all part of things, and they just get to go play at a different place and in a different culture, so to speak, because it's a bowl game or whatever. So I think you get max effort. Plus, they run the weird offenses, the options and stuff, and the teams don't see that stuff. So I think this is a good spot for those schools. And historically, they're awesome ATS in bowl games because of that. I think when you start to think about some of the other games, when you look at them, let me look at this for a second. So I'm all over Penn State today. Not Penn State, Pittsburgh. If you like that game goes at 11 o'clock this morning. So keep an eye on times to start too, because I think that's my computer AI program and the data and all that stuff that I put in. The prediction was 31-13 was the number that it came out with. The Penn State Clemson game, look, that's a really difficult game because Penn State has a ton of players not playing. Clemson has a ton of players not playing. But it's hard to figure out who's a little more motivated. Obviously, Penn State's got a new head coach, but the one that's there wants to go out on a win and, and all the other stuff. And Dabo, I don't know what Dabo's emotions are going to be for this game. There's going to be like 25 guys for Penn State not play. And there's going to be like 20 guys for Clemson not play. So, but both of these schools are pretty deep. I would still say it's going to be a pretty competitive game. I would say that, when I looked at, kind of how it goes, my AI computer said 24-20 Clemson. I think the number's right around that number, right? 3.5, something like that. Maybe 2.5 now. Um, I think I think it's a hard game to bet. I think it's a hard game to bet just because um, you can't go by the data, because these aren't the kids that produce the data. So it's a really difficult game in my opinion. That way, Army. We talked about Georgia Tech, BYU. Um, my AI computer came back and said 30-24 BYU. It wouldn't surprise me if it's a little bigger than that for BYU, to be honest. But that's a cover for BYU. I like BYU in this spot. Um, Brockemeyer was the big question, and because he hurt his ankle, but he's had a couple weeks to get over that. And from what I've seen, he's good to go. Georgia Tech, their quarterback's going to play. So, but I think BYU's defense is strong. And I think BYU is in a better spot, with all their players. So I liked that side. I just didn't like it enough to bet it. It was 30-24. And then the most interesting game to me of the day is the North Texas San Diego State game. I bet a lot of bets on San Diego State all season long because their defense has just been dominatingly good. But it's been in that conference. Well, now they're playing out of conference, but they're still playing similar type team that's in that like that conference would be. But it's a dominant offense. But they've got a few opt-outs for North Texas, but I still think North Texas kind of edges through this game. I don't know what to do with the scoring. Now, my AI computer comes back and says 31-23 North Texas. So that's by 8. I think the number's around 6 or 7 now. People are betting North Texas. So it opened 6.5 on that Monday that came out was 5.5. Then it was 5. Now it's back up to 6.5. So San Diego State's starting quarterback is out. He had arm surgery or shoulder surgery or something. He's not playing. But that's not really a big deal because he wasn't any good anyway. His QBR rank was 114 out of 130 schools. So I mean, that's terrible for a school that's actually pretty good at what they do. So the other kid, Mestamaker or whatever his name is, he's been Mestamaker. That's what it was. He's been really good for North Texas. So. And they score lots of points, like 50 points and stuff like that. Well, they're going to play a defense that's really good. So it's interesting to see San Diego State runs the ball and moves the ball. They got good wide receivers. They just don't have anybody throwing to them. So that was an interesting game to me to see how that one breaks out. And I think there's 2 other games today, Virginia and Missouri. I kind of liked Virginia in the game, but the computer came back and said Missouri 24-20. Which is like right on the number, or pretty close to the number. And in those cases, I would always take the underdog. The issue there is that Missouri's got a lot of transition. The head coach is gone, and some opt-outs and so forth going on in Missouri. And then the last game is LSU and Houston. And I don't know how many people really follow this Houston team. They got a stout defense. I mean, their defense is really good, and the LSU offense is one of the worst in all of college football. And Nussmeyer's not going to go be playing. It's going to be their backup quarterback. Their backup quarterback ranks 128th out of 134 out of 132 schools. So they're going to have to try to run the ball, and they're not going to be able to. So I think Houston's the right side in the night game. So anyway, food for thought.
And that it's funny listening to everyone, during the holiday season bleaking in. Houston, Houston opened up at 3 for a reason. It's now a pick at circa. Everyone sees SEC, everyone sees LSU. Houston weaker conference. I agree with you on the Houston side there. Here's something, and I wanted to pick your brain. BYU Georgia Tech. What really opens my eyes, like last night's under over a 61, is these two teams with a 55.5. There are 56s out there, Scotty. And I'm a team total guy, but I didn't want to put my hat on either one of the two teams yesterday, as UTSA's team total flew over, but the other side, FAU, came up short. Here I'm looking at BYU team total 29.5, Georgia Tech 26.5. I almost feel like BYU team total over is the lean there. But I'm going to ask you this. I almost feel with the big number there, an over 55.5 might even be the safer play there.
Let me go over the breakdown here. I just scrolled it up to it instead of the other. Now, that BYU game appears like fifth on my list of top whatever plays for today, or I don't remember if it's just today or whatever. So like I do this like so many days in advance, but so basically it's Cougars, the updated prediction confidence then says Cougars lean pass, Bachmeier to throw for 260 yards, 2 touchdowns, control the clock with short fields, pull away late as the Georgia Tech run stalls without the full offensive line. King keeps it close because he's like Superman for them. But BYU's D forces key stops. Frosted strawberry victory for the snubbed Cougars. Now, again, remember this is the Pop-Tart Bowl, so that's why he said frosted strawberry. Frosted strawberry Pop-Tarts. He's saying, so betting confidence, BYU minus, at this time it was 3.5. BYU minus 3.5, medium to high, 7 out of 10. That's pretty good. That's not his highest ranking. His highest rankings are usually 8s, 8.5s. And then over 56.5. Is that the number you got right now, Jeff? 56.5. Anyway, he's saying over 56.5 is medium high, 7 out of 10. He says styles plus conditions, screen points, probably projected 54, 58 points. So he kind of likes that. And then, so this game's in a dome too, I think. Where's this game at?
It's in Orlando, Florida, the Camping World Stadium.
It's not a dome. He thinks it's a dome. Every time I have to go fix it, tell him it's not. But it's not a dome. And then so the players who are missing though, you got the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year running back for BYU. He's not playing. So that's a big loss for them in terms of running back. You've got the backup running back. He might not play, but they got a lot of those guys. But the quarterback's going to play, and then you have Georgia Tech. You've got a few issues, especially on the offensive line. The center's not playing. They've got a linebacker not playing. The backup quarterback, which nobody cares about, he's not playing. And what I thought was interesting is I do this part where I give it tidbits of information. BYU is way more battle tested than Georgia Tech. They played the 16th the most difficult schedule. Georgia Tech is like 55, 56, something like that. And then when it comes to yards per point margin, Georgia Tech's plus 0.9. Well, that means they're kind of a bend, don't break kind of team. And BYU is efficient scoring, and they're pretty strong at plus 3.9. So for every so that means for every yard, they're getting points way more so than what Georgia Tech does, and they played a much more difficult schedule. Tells you a little bit about who BYU is versus what Georgia Tech is, and then turnover margin. Georgia Tech's negative turnover margin, and BYU's positive. That's a big factor when it comes to some of this stuff. And quarterbacks, we said, hey, this kid's really good for Georgia Tech. He's their whole thing. He ranks 18th in QBR rank. and that's really good out of 140 people. And BYU kid though, he's 19th, and he's like that's really good too because he's like a redshirt freshman or something. Yeah, I think Brockmeyer might be a sophomore, but it's unbelievable where those things are. But you've got BYU top 25 havoc creating defense. Here's the question we can talk about in a second. The top 25 havoc defense, and Georgia Tech offensive line has losses, and they're not good on third down. So my opinion is I think BYU covers this game. You like the over. I think the over is going to be right kind of in that vicinity there. So the weather's nice down here today, so I don't think they're going to run any weather issues. So yeah, I like it. I just didn't like it enough. Well, I might bet it later. I mean, depending on what the number is. The number is 3 right now, right?
La 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 la.
3, not 3.5, right?
3.5.
It's 3.5. Like if you can get BYU -3, I think you gotta bet it at 3.5. Maybe you don't want to, but trust me. That half point may come into effect, but I don't know. We'll see. And I think Harris Room Sports asked the question of who wins, Georgia or Ole Miss. So let me preface this by saying I haven't run that model yet. I won't run that model probably until Monday or Tuesday. But my eyes and the way I kind of look at things and kind of have done these things. The first game, Mississippi ran out of gas in that game. Mississippi was ahead by 9 in the fourth quarter. They were going to win that game, and then they ran out of gas, and Georgia came back and won the game. Now that doesn't mean that Georgia can't do the same thing or that Georgia's not playing better, because they are. I think Georgia's defense is playing much, much better than they were at the beginning of the year. I mean, you remember when they played Tennessee, they had to do the same thing, and that was like a scoring fest. I think that game was, 45-45 or something. Anyway, they gave up a lot of points. They're not doing that anymore. I think that, Ole Miss is a team that is all offense. I don't think they're the greatest defensive team in the world. Having said that, I don't think Georgia is the greatest offense in the world. I think Georgia can't run the football. So when you run into, it's kind of like Alabama, they don't run the ball either. So when you run into some of this stuff, I think what you kind of have to think about is, what does the line look like? Well, this line is 6.5, 7 points now for Georgia. I don't know what people are sitting there thinking that, hey, look, this team in Ole Miss can't score, because they between the both quarterbacks, they're both very good. Between the wide receivers, Georgia's got good wide receivers, but I think that, on the other side of it, I think, Mississippi's kind of good there. I think Mississippi's got a better running back. It's going to be a matter of line play. Whoever wins the line play, I think, is going to be able to do this stuff. Says, okay, I have more faith in Georgia getting stops defense than Ole Miss getting stops. I don't blame you there. I am not a big fan of Ole Miss's offense or defense. And if Georgia can play better defense, I think that they'll be in the game and or ahead instead of being down by 9 and having to come back. But I just prefaced all of that stuff by saying those things. I haven't run the reports. I haven't run the numbers. It's like the Ohio State game and all that. I haven't done that. That'll probably be a Monday, Tuesday thing, or I'll have it ready for Monday with all the stuff that goes on in my world. Like right now, I did today's NFL stuff, and I'm waiting on more data to come in. So I got games to do for tomorrow and run it through the model there. But no, I appreciate the questions. That's what we're here for. Like, I've done all the college football games except for those 4. So got any other ones? I mean, I got, but the AI's done for all of the other ones. So anyway, point being is that I think as you break them down and as you go forward, I was looking forward to this weekend. and I'm looking forward to New Year's Eve, New Year's Day games. Now, granted, look, I think you're going to run into Appalachian State and Georgia Southern after this weekend. So enjoy what you got, because then you're going to be looking at in my mind lesser football again.
Me and Scotty will be back Monday, Tuesday. We'll make a decision on New Year's Eve. We usually go dark on Wednesday. So if we wrap up everything on Tuesday for Wednesday and then New Year's Day, we're usually back on Thursday. Maybe what we can do, Scotty, totally up to you. Maybe we come on Wednesday and do Wednesday and Thursday's games if you want. And then
Well, we'll have to.
up.
I mean, look, we got major games on those 2 days, and I'll have the information that I want to do and what I'm betting. And if you want to give them your perspective on that side of it too, we can do all of those things. And to be honest, who wants to listen to Georgia Southern and Appalachian State analysis? I mean, wouldn't you rather listen to somebody talk about Ohio State and Miami or something? I mean, that's just my opinion. I'd rather talk about the World Baseball Classic or talk about baseball than talk about Appalachian State and Georgia Southern.
Scotty's in pocket plays one more time. Pittsburgh -10 versus East Carolina. That's going off in exactly 36 minutes. Again, lines up to 13.5. Scotty got it at 10 earlier. Right down the road from me, Army versus UConn. Army -8.5. Am seeing some UConn buyback, but 8.5s right now across the board at friendly Fenway Park against the UConn Huskies. And the Arizona Bowl, which is going at, where's my eyes? 4:30 today. Fresno State -5 versus Miami of Ohio. NFL today, guys. Again, we broke it down earlier. Two backup quarterbacks, Baltimore, Green Bay. Baltimore must win to make the Pittsburgh game relevant, potentially, of course.
Well, if Pittsburgh beats Cleveland, they're in anyway.
Correct. But my point is, if Green Bay beats the Ravens, it doesn't matter what Pittsburgh does tomorrow in Cleveland or obviously the following Sunday there. And then the 4:30 game, Houston and the Chargers. I will tell everyone this. Houston did open up the favorite. There was a flip and a buyback on the Chargers. Currently now the Chargers -1 at the Circa with the 39.5. 1.5 across the rest of the board there. Me and Scotty again back Monday, 9:15, 9:30 at the latest. We'll be back Mondays and Tuesday. Figure out Wednesdays and Thursdays there. I want to thank everyone here watching and listening. As always, give a shout out, of course, to Harris Room Sports, PB, Mr. Lucky, Dr. Lance, everyone watching and listening. Guys, full weekend of action. Enjoy it. Okay, we only got a couple days left in 2025. 2026, of course, begins on Thursday. So for myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, the one and only Mr. Scotty Webb at Webby20MLB. Wish everyone a blessed day. Enjoy the weekend. Have some fun there, and stay tuned.